Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Detective, did you recognize states 3 through 27?
Yes, sir. Those are some of the photos taken during the search warrant.
Do they fairly and accurately depict what you saw that day as you were executing the search warrant?
Yes, sir.
You're not moved to admit states 3 through 27, having previously shown these to defense before we got started this morning.
No objection.
States Exhibit 3 through 27 are admitted.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
Detective, before I start putting a bunch of pictures on the TV screen, do you have reason to believe that Mitch Austin was residing at one of these houses that you were searching?
Yes, sir.
And what led you to make that belief?
There were, prior to the search warrant and follow-up research, there were social media pictures taken at the residence, there were police reports made at the residence, and then on that day we found multiple documents such as mail, court documents inside the residence with his name on them.
Was he in fact at the scene while y'all were executing the search warrant?
Yes, sir. In the totality, he'd been removed by the time I got there.
Let me put up State's Exhibit 3. What are we seeing as State's Exhibit 3? Do you have a good angle for one of the TV screens?
I can see this one just fine.
Okay.
That's a rifle that was, the object that's canted in front of that is a refrigerator. So when we pulled the refrigerator back, the rifle was behind the refrigerator. And the reason we pulled the refrigerator back was because the butt of it was already sticking out.
And this was found behind a refrigerator
Yes, sir, in the kitchen.
of the house that Mitch was residing in,
Create the Puget residence.
rented by his mother.
Correct.
What are we looking at in State's Exhibit 4?
This closet is slightly, if you're facing the refrigerator, this closet was to the right, also in the kitchen. And this is a zoomed out photo that we took to show there was another rifle found within that closet. And as he's, go ahead.
State's Exhibit 5.
All right, so like I said, this one's just a little more zoomed in so you can see where that rifle was tucked in before we removed it from its spot.
State's Exhibit 6, so we're just getting a little closer to that closet.
Yes, sir.
And I'm pointing, is that the rifle that y'all found?
Yes, sir.
What is State's Exhibit 7?
That's that same rifle just removed from the closet so you can see the entirety of the firearm.
And it appears that there is a complete bullet on top of the rifle. What is that?
That was the round that was chambered inside of the rifle.
What is State's Exhibit 8?
It's just displaying the serial number, make of the gun.
Moving on to State's Exhibit 9. What are we looking at here?
This firearm was located in the top drawer of the dresser in the room attributed to Mr. Austin.
And how did you attribute that particular room to Mr.
This
Austin?
room contained the vast majority of the documents that had Mr. Austin's name on them, to include the dresser itself.
And, State's Exhibit 10.
It's just the firearm removed from the dresser for a clearer picture of it.
And State's 11.
Same thing, this is the bullet that's loose is the round that was chambered inside the gun, and then the magazine has been removed from the gun to render it so you can see that it's loaded.
What are we looking at in State's Exhibit 12?
This is the beginning of the documentation, just showing that there are items attributed to Mitch in the room, including things labeled with his name.
More of the same in State's 13?
Yes, sir.
In fact, the prescription says Mitchell Austin.
Yes, sir.
State's 14,
Bus ticket with his name on it.
pointing at his name, correct?
Yes, sir.
Found in the same bedroom as the gun?
Yes, sir.
We've got a picture in State's 15. Is this the same drawer, dresser drawer, where the firearm was found? A different drawer of the same set of dressers?
Same dresser, yes, sir. It contained Mr. Austin's wallet.
That I'm pointing at?
Yes, sir.
The quality printing pictures to put on the projector screen, does it make it a little hard to see sometimes?
Sure. The house was really dim too, so we were struggling with the pictures.
What are we looking at in State 16? If you can tell, let me try to zoom in.
There we go. This is court documentation for one of Mr. Mitchell's, Austin's cases.
Found in the same bedroom?
Yes. It's a scale.
Scale found in State 17. What is State's 18? Is that a picture of his driver's license? His being Mr. Austin's?
His identification card, yes, sir.
Found in the same room?
Yes, sir.
State's 19 is a stack of paperwork with the defendant's identifying information.
Yes, sir.
Found in the bedroom?
Yes, sir.
States 20 and 21, I'm just going to put side by side lest it start to get redundant. Oops. Court paperwork depicting the defendant's name.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's switch to States 22. What are we looking at in States 22 while I zoom in?
This is consistent with a drug ledger. Names, grams sold. This one's also includes some names and phone numbers.
In fact, it also says weed on the document, doesn't it?
It does, as well as bars.
And are those slang terminologies that you know to be consistent with buying and selling narcotics?
Yes, sir.
States 23. What are we looking at and where was it found?
This is additional ammunition found within the same dresser that contains the firearm.
States 24 looks to be an ammo box.
Yes, sir. That contained multiple different kinds of ammunition.
States 25 appears to depict a backpack hanging on a wall, or a door rather.
Yes, sir. It's a closet door within the same bedroom.
States 26, did you open it to see the contents?
Yes, sir.
What do those contents appear to be to you?
There was a large amount of baggies that are often used for drug sales, the smaller Ziploc baggies, as well as a fairly, like about a gallon-sized baggie of marijuana.
States Exhibit 27, is that just a picture of the contents of the backpack?
Yes, sir.
Detective Mulvihill, would you please describe and I'm going to try to use the right word here, the condition of the house that the defendant was living in?
It was by no means the worst that I've seen, but it didn't have regular utilities. There were buckets of water in the bathtub that we've seen in other locations that are used to like flush the toilet in place of having running utilities. It was very dim lit, it was fairly dirty. But it was, appeared to be completely inhabited by Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Collins. Mr. Austin, I'm sorry.
Have you had mentioned you've been in similar houses before. Do you believe that this was a house that was used to sell narcotics out of?
There is certainly evidence of that, as it's been portrayed here.
Once you finished executing this search warrant, what did you do? Did you contact anybody with my office after you finished executing the search warrant?
I contacted you directly.
And based on our conversation, was a warrant issued in order to revoke this defendant's probation?
Yes, sir.
This house, this is a dumb question, I think I need to ask it for the record though. Was this house located in Dallas County, Texas?
Yes, sir.
And you served this search warrant May 13th, 2020?
Yes, sir.
I'll pass the witness.
Detective, my name is Kenneth Weatherspoon. I have just a couple of questions to ask you. If I ask you anything you don't understand, if you can't hear me, just ask me to repeat myself.
Certainly.
Now, you said this warrant to search this house was related to a charge against his brother, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that charge was, what was the alleged charge?
Aggravated robbery.
And was the complaining witness in that case, Taj Campbell?
I don't recall the name. I was not the lead detective on the original aggravated robbery. I do recall that there were 2 victims listed.
Okay, would one be Taj Campbell and the other Lonnie Eldridge?
I recall Lonnie's name. I would have to refer back to the report to recall the second name.
But you do recall the name of Lonnie Eldridge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And have you done any investigation concerning Lonnie Eldridge?
Judge, I'm going to object to relevance.
Objection sustained.
Well, Your Honor, when they opened the door talking about the purpose of the search warrant, being the aggravated robbery, it's opposition that they would open the door to the facts of the aggravated robbery.
Objection overruled.
Huh?
I'm sorry, objection sustained.
Okay. But you do recall the name of Lonnie Eldridge?
Yes, sir, I do.
And when you was, okay, you don't remember exactly who the complaining witness was in the robbery, but you do remember the name of Lonnie Eldridge, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Like I said, I wasn't the lead detective on the case. I remember the role. I remember that the other person was his girlfriend at the time. I just don't recall her name, if I'm being completely honest.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Now, did you say Mr. Austin was or was not there when you served the warrant?
When I arrived on this, the warrant was initially served as far as the house being cleared by our fugitive unit. By the time I had arrived on scene, he had already been arrested.
Okay. So you don't know if he was there when they originally came into contact with the house, is that correct?
I know what the fugitive unit has told me, which is that he was on scene.
Well, let me rephrase that. You don't have any personal knowledge?
Correct.
Okay. Now, when you were there, was he resisting in any way? Did you witness Mr. Austin resist the police in any way?
I didn't observe Mr. Austin at all.
Okay. So you never saw him?
No, sir.
Okay. So everything you just told the judge about what, well, let me rephrase the question. Did you conduct a search of the rooms?
I was present with them, yes, sir.
You were present? Excuse me?
Yes, sir. There was a group of us there, but I was present for the searches.
What room in particular did you search?
I was in all of the rooms in the Puget house. I just, like, Sergeant Nash was present with me, as well as additional members of the fugitive team were present, but I was in every room in the house and verified fugitive find.
So some of the information that you just told the judge was based on what other officers told you and not your personal knowledge, is that correct?
No, sir. Like I said, I was present in the rooms.
Now, you have no knowledge as to how long any of those items had been at the house, is that correct?
Prior to us being there, no, sir.
Okay. And what was the basis of your information to secure the warrant?
Object to relevance.
If that was the reason they were at the house in the first place, Your Honor.
I'll, overrule that objection. I'll allow the
As we said before, Mr. Austin's brother was under investigation for an aggravated robbery. Part of the facts of that investigation involved a rifle that was displayed during the offense. During the initial response by our responding patrol officers, said that the complaint of the aggravated robbery involved the collection of a couple of ejected rounds that were consistent with the type of rifle that they were describing in the street, which kind of helped corroborate that something had happened. We're aware that there's an ongoing kind of feud between Mr. Eldridge and the general family, but the statement from the girlfriend that the offense had occurred, as well as those ejected rounds, we decided as a unit to go ahead and execute the search warrant, to instead of just taking simply the word of an ongoing feud, to take it a step further and see if that firearm did in fact exist in that home. So we executed the search warrant.
And since you brought it up, what is the Dallas Police Department's knowledge of an ongoing feud?
Objection to hearsay and relevance.
She opened the door. She said she was aware, they were aware of an ongoing feud. It wasn't prompted by a question from me.
Okay, objection overruled.
What is your knowledge of, what is the knowledge of the Dallas Police Department, or your knowledge of an ongoing feud that exists in this area?
Just vaguely, there are multiple reports that have been made back and forth between the families. I don't recall which brother right now, but I know that there have been previous court cases between the family and Mr. Eldridge and some back and forth. And I interviewed Ms. Law on another case that happened after the search warrant, and she kind of filled me in that there was an ongoing tension and back and forth between the brothers and Mr. Eldridge.
Thank you, officer. I have no further questions.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from the staff?
No, Your Honor, we'd ask this witness be excused.
Just subject to recall, but she can leave.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Judge. We'll call Sergeant John Nash.
Okay.
Sergeant, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that in all matters before the court, you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Proceed, Your Honor. Sergeant Nash, would you please introduce yourself to Judge Lewis?
I'm Sergeant Nash, Dallas Police Department. I've been working a little over 31 years now, currently assigned to the fugitive unit.
What does the fugitive unit do?
We're assigned to track down mostly violent felonies, robbers, murderers, rapists. Usually anything involving guns, we get assigned.
Do you also assist in executing search warrants from time to time?
Yes, sir.
Were you assisting in the execution of the search warrant at 3435 Puget in Dallas on May 13th, 2020?
Yes, sir.
Would you describe for Judge Lewis the scene as you approach and prepare to execute the search warrant?
We had arrested our target earlier in the day, well, just prior to this, and we had two houses to hit. They were right next to each other. One was on Puget, and so we came in, locked down the street, and just continue to keep it locked down to get enough people there to run the search warrant.
Were there onlookers or other folks there as y'all had arrived?
Yes, sir.
Were the crowd growing or remaining consistent?
They grew for a while, and then since it was an extended period of time, they kind of faded away later on.
Did you come into contact with an individual by the name of Mitchell Austin as you were executing the search warrant?
Yes, sir.
And also, I suppose, securing the scene to execute the search warrant?
Yes, sir.
Would you describe for Judge Lewis how you came into contact with Mr. Austin?
We'd actually dealt with him earlier at another scene when we arrested his brother. And then we had gone back to lock down the scene for the search warrant, and he arrived shortly after we locked it down.
How is his demeanor?
Agitated, aggressive.
Do you see that individual in the courtroom here today?
Yes, sir.
And if I'm seat 1, 2, and seat 3 to my far right, what seat do you see Mitchell Austin in?
Seat 3.
Sergeant Nash, were you, as you were working in West Dallas that day, were you equipped with a body-worn camera?
Yes, sir.
And did the body-worn camera fairly and accurately depict the events as they happened that day?
Yes, sir.
Did you review some footage of your body-worn camera in anticipation for your testimony here today?
Yes, sir.
So, Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Sergeant Nash, I'm showing you what I marked as Exhibit 28. Do you recognize that disc?
Yes, sir.
How do you recognize it?
I was just reviewing it a little bit ago.
What footage is contained on stage 28?
There's a video from some of the gang unit officers that we had used to secure the scene involving the arrest when Mr. Collins got into a fight at the location while we were there. And then the rest of it, I believe, is my video also of that incident, and then the search warrant video.
And all of the footage contained in State's Exhibit 28, is it either your camera, or let me phrase it up, did you personally witness the events that were depicted in State's Exhibit 28?
Yes, sir.
They fairly accurately depict what you recall happened that day?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, upon tender of defense, we move to admit State's 28.
May I briefly take a witness on voir dire?
Yes.
Officer Nash, I have just a couple of questions. You see it depicts the arrest of Mr. Collins and not Mr. Austin?
It's Mr. Austin. His brother, the whole incident started for his brother, Monty Collins. The video's all tagged under his brother's name, that's the reason why we're out there from the beginning, but it does show Mr. Austin's arrest and the search warrants, subsequently the house at Puget.
No objection.
Okay. State's Exhibit number 28 is admitted.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Sergeant Nash, I'm going to start with a video file contained on State's Exhibit 28. Pardon me, my computer is asking me some questions. A video file 085409-2020 disorderly conduct arrest. Do you recognize this video file?
Yes, sir.
What are we fixing to watch?
The gang unit's body camera, I'm not sure which officers it was, of the initial interaction with Mr. Austin, and I believe his mother, Lisa Laws. We then stepped the tape or continued to lock down the scene, and their interaction between them until they ended up getting into a fight with other local residents at the location.
I'm going to start playing this video file at 24 minutes, but before I do, we see a still shot image of some yellow tape of a Dallas police car. Would you help Judge Lewis get oriented as to where we are out in West Dallas?
Puget, I forgot the side street, I believe Gallagher. I'm not sure the side street, but that is a eastbound look from the location.
And we see some folks on the other side of the yellow police tape. Is that what you mean by secure the area?
Yes, sir. We had it from there, and we had it about halfway up the block on the north side, almost the whole block on the south side, and then the other street was completely shut down to on the west side.
Make sure my audio is connected.
Get recording like that. What do you want to get? What do you want to get?
Let me pause it at 24:33. We see a large crowd surrounding a black Tahoe on the right side of the video. Is that what y'all are about to approach?
Yes, sir.
Describe for the judge, since it's hard to, it doesn't translate very well on video, what's going on here?
The Tahoe had driven up while we were there. Some kind of verbal altercation happened between Mr. Austin and his mother with them. It escalated. The gentleman ended up stepping out of the vehicle, and they started to have a physical altercation, at which time we went in and removed both Mr. Austin and his mother.
I'm positive 2503. Is that the person you know as Mitchell Austin being
Yes.
arrested?
Knock it out.
Positive 2603, did you just hear what this defendant said?
No, sir.
Let me rewind and try to turn up the volume. Try again at 2545.
There's order for disorder. Gotcha. Hey, what you doing? I got you. I got you. Yeah. Mark's gonna get hit up tonight. Knock it out. Mark's gonna get hit up.
Positive 2607, the defendant say he's gonna get hit up tonight.
Your Honor, I'm gonna object to leading.
Objection sustained.
Sergeant Nash, were you able to, the second time, hear what the defendant said in the video?
Yes, sir.
What did you hear in the video?
You gonna get hit tonight, when I get out.
Keep playing at 2607.
Get the shit out of me, man. Hey, squad. Man, get the shit out of me, man. Not the shit. Watch your back. I think,
Let me pause it at 2633. We see a woman on the left side of the frame in a blue t-shirt. Do you know who that individual is?
Yes, sir, that's his mother,
Do you recall her name?
Lisa Laws.
Law.
put her in your box. You better touch me. Hey, get a spin back, bro. I got one in my bag. I can't run this up on my... No, right now, man. You better stop moving. Right there. Get this shit up on me. Stay right there. I don't want that. I ain't going to get all drop them on the floor, I'm gonna have to kick them on the floor. I got grass out of my fucking mouth, I can't even get this shit out, bro. Let me see. Where's it at? Don't you see how you see my shirt coming out of my mouth? Let me see, let me see. You don't hear coughing like that, bro. It's saying I'm a fucking joke. I do got the wrong spot. Alright, cool. That just makes it long for you, no worse. Hopefully they don't use you coughing your system, saying that you got the wrong ass off. Calling the public service. Just gotta take it. No, do my business, man. Don't go on your property, man. We ain't taking it. Put your shoe back on. Man, I got the grass on this shit out. Put your shoe back on. Yeah. Take everything else to his brother before he starts fighting. What's his name? It's on the ticket. He has a ticket. That's a ticket. Fine. Look like, oh shit. No, he's fighting another fight that was driving up. Nah, he's going to store a condom. They got someone coming out to watch out. False contact.
Sergeant Nash, I'm going to play a video file on stage 28 called Monty Collins-7. Is this actually your body-worn camera that we're looking at, and Monty Collins-7, if you recall?
Yes, sir, I believe it's mine.
And does this footage show the same incident that we just watched, just from a different angle?
Yes, sir, I'll be a little further back to the west once it starts.
fact, I'm just gonna pause it at 40 seconds and fast forward to sorry, bear with me. 6:23.
Back up. They started it now. We start next story. Now you Mark's gonna get hit up tonight. Now get out. Watch this.
All right, I'm gonna stop this video at 7:29. And we're gonna play just excerpts from this last video file. In your review of this last video file, would you tell Judge Lewis what she's about to watch?
Myself, Detective Mulvihill, we're actually searching the residence, executing the search warrant itself. Search multiple rooms, find identifiers of them, find multiple guns.
I'm just gonna fast forward arbitrarily. 6:13, this screenshot is Detective Mulvihill searching the house. This, to be clear, is your body worn footage, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and at 32:11, we're in what appears to be a red bedroom with a dresser. The top drawer is open, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Just for consistency's sake, Sergeant Nash, I'm going to show you, if I may approach, Your Honor.
Let's take a break.
Oh.
We're going to work a little bit. I'm sure we'll we need a break. Let's be back at 11:15.
Thank you, Judge.